Okay, look, I'm not feeling the greatest. I just woke up. I should have probably just put this video on hold. This is the first of the news and updates that I'm going back to record. Don't know when it'll come out, don't know where it is in the placement, but this is the first one I'm going back to record. It's currently August 20th, 2022. Hopefully I can get them out soon. I was gonna wait until I was feeling better and I could do a much better video, but ultimately this video is not coming out first, so who cares? It's my first recording for one of the stupidest ideas I've ever had in my entire life. It doesn't deserve to be the greatest video ever made. It deserves to have me feeling crummy. It's also just a really gloomy, rainy day outside, so it's really depressing. It's oof. Let's talk about some news nobody cares about. Is it even news anymore? Can we call it that? I don't know if we can. I don't think we can. I'm gonna call it news anyways. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla vs. Kong news roundup. That's right. This time we're going to be speed running our way through. I was originally going to run from March 30th all the way through May 1st, but it only goes through about halfway through April because I had to split it in two because YouTube wouldn't let me make a video description that long. I couldn't add all the links in the description if I added all of the news stories into one video. So I split it in two. For anybody wondering, why are we picking up with March 20th? What's the significance? I was just roughly when I stopped covering news, was around March 20th is when I stopped looking at news for Godzilla vs. Kong in my attempt to avoid spoilers. Now, of course, I am talking about March 20th, 2021, so I am a full year behind where I'm at currently, over a full year behind. By the time this comes out, who knows? Could be 2 years behind. If you've seen the other videos that I've posted around this point, they should be videos recorded back in March of 2021, which will roughly catch us right back up to where I left off originally. Let's friggin' speedrun this, my dudes. So this one, we're going to be talking about the Godzilla vs. Kong crossovers, posters, and merchandise that came out in that time period. Starting out, SRS Cinema, you know, the home of all good cinema, released their movie Zillafoot. They didn't make it, I don't think. They just distribute. But of course they did. They distribute only stinkers. So Zillafoot, keep your eye out for that one. Maybe I'll check it out. If enough of you guys comment on this video that nobody watched, let me know. Should I check out Zillafoot? Now we're getting into some actual doped, amazing bangers. The Asylum dropped Ape vs. Monster in anticipation for Godzilla vs. Kong and accidentally overshadowed the main event itself. Ape vs. Monster goes down in history as Earth's greatest movie. It is a true icon, better than Morbius. If you don't believe me, please check out my review. By the time you're done with it, you'll have no option left but to be convinced. Godzilla 2014 joins the HBO Max rotation for the time being, as long as HBO Max is still in existence, which its days are numbered now. We all have the Shinigami eyes and can see that HBO Max's lifespan is about to come to an end. So if you have HBO Max, enjoy Godzilla 2014 while you still can while it's on there. It is on rotation, like I said, so every couple of months it gets taken off and moved to different streaming services. But while it's on there, as long as Godzilla King of the Monsters and Kong Skull Island are also in rotation, that means that HBO Max is the home of the Monsterverse. It's really ridiculous that it can't always be that. Warner Bros., you own the movies. Speaking of Godzilla 2014, Godzilla 2014 had a 4K release, and they released a 4K trailer for that. X Plus released a Rodan 2019. There's two versions of it. It was revealed back in the day. The original version was $199, while the Rick version, which had lava wings, was $209. I have been fortunate enough to see the 2019 Rodan original version in person, and it is incredible. X Plus did a great job with it. Godzilla vs. Kong had a display at the Shinjuku Marui Annex. I don't know if I said that right. I don't know. It's a shopping mall in Japan. This is, of course, the Godzilla 2019 Godzilla design. So, I mean, it's the same Godzilla in both movies, just slightly redesigned for Godzilla vs. Kong. What I mean to say is, this is the Godzilla 2019 statue, the one that we saw a ton leading into Godzilla King of the Monsters, and it's actually kind of awesome and sort of nostalgic to see it make a comeback. Like I said, Godzilla vs. Kong did have many crossovers throughout the time, so we'll talk about those as we go through the months, but back in the day, back around the time of Godzilla vs. Kong coming out, there was a lot of tie-ins specifically. One Chinese mobile game called Magic Domain had a Godzilla vs. Kong crossover, in which Godzilla and Kong, I don't know if they were playable characters, but you could certainly interact with them, so in addition to a poster, there's a couple pictures for that. The big one that Gomorrah Island covered back in the day was this game called LifeAfter or Day After Tomorrow. There was a lot to go with it, so they had this really awesome wallpaper, this moving wallpaper which breathed. It was really cool. There was some footage of Godzilla gameplay footage. It's not great, it looks a little clunky, but it is actually really cool to see. I like that they gave the characters a Godzilla vs. Kong jacket, and like I said, so Godzilla interacts with the environment a little weirdly, but it is really cool to see this design in motion in a video game. There are some really cool moves that Godzilla had in this video game. One move was shooting his breath up into the air where these atomic balls would rain down from the sky, causing destruction. Another move he had was to split his atomic breath in 3 different moves. Now that's something that was seen in the Dark Horse Godzilla comics way back in the day, but it's really cool to see in this video game here. Fortunately for Kong, Godzilla can't do that in the movies. Godzilla appeared as a final boss in that game as a rampaging monster. Pretty cool. Now let's get into what I consider one of the most interesting Godzilla vs. Kong crossovers, that being the World of Warships crossover. There was a reveal for it, some photos of the ships, and then a trailer, and I find it to be incredibly strange. In the game, Godzilla and Kong pilot their own ships, and they go to war with each other. There's a Team Godzilla and a Team Kong, and I know I am Team Kong, but I would like to stand by that decision. His ship looks cooler, which is strange considering Godzilla's a sea monster. Kong's ship has this really awesome lava aesthetic through it, and I think it's actually pretty badass. It looks like it's overgrowth and taking over the ship. Really cool. Godzilla's ship, on the other hand, I'm disappointed by. While Godzilla looks cooler on the ship just has the Godzilla dorsal fin decals all over it, and I don't think it looks as neat. But yeah, like I said, Godzilla, the model for Godzilla in the game looks much better than the model for Kong in the game. They do have this really cool comic book trailer for it that I think is really neat. So yeah, that was I guess a cool crossover event that happened. Godzilla vs. Kong vs. PugG Mobile was announced. I will talk about that more when we get into the months where the actual app update happened, but for now we'll just say that it was announced. There was a Godzilla vs. Kong energy drink by FYE. I think you can still order it off the FYE website. I highly recommend it. It is the ultimate showdown energy drink. It's blue raspberry. It tastes like a caffeinated blue raspberry icy. I actually really loved it. It's one of my favorite energy drinks that I've had. I've had it on the channel before a couple times, and I would love to get more of them because I think they're really good. The only downside is that they'll stain your mouth blue. Mondo revealed some Godzilla vs. Kong tiki mugs, so there's one for Godzilla and one for Kong. I think these are strange. I wonder if anybody actually gets them, but they must because these are big sellers. Mondo sells a lot of these, and they release new tiki mugs all the time. So that's really cool. I mean, someday maybe I'll get one. I actually do really like the Godzilla vs. Kong ones. They come in 2 different color schemes, and I find that very neat. Around the time of Godzilla vs. Kong coming out, they released a new merch line featuring Mechagodzilla. There's actually a ton of merchandise to this day that has come out, so these are just the ones that were revealed back in March of 2021. So you had a Mechagodzilla t-shirt, Godzilla vs. Kong hoodie, Mechagodzilla a pop socket, or whatever you call those, Godzilla phone cases. Since then, there's been tons and tons and tons of merchandise that I'm sure I'll cover in later videos. There's some Money Lynch merch, and by that I mean Marshawn Lynch, the football player, had a crossover with Godzilla vs. Kong, I guess, to release some of the stinkiest merchandise in history. Well, I don't think the Godzilla and Kong shirts are that bad, or the hoodies. I think the design with him running through them is one of the silliest things to happen since Godzilla getting dunked on by Charles Barkley. One of the greatest Godzilla vs. Kong lines of all time. This was another merch line that I absolutely loved. If you've paid attention in my videos, you will see me wearing their merch all the time because I pretty much got everything they had to offer. Not everything. I didn't get all of it, but I got a lot of it. It was a limited time from what I can tell because I tried to buy some today and I couldn't find any. Merch line from Cavity Colors. Cavity Colors is one of my absolute all-time favorite t-shirt companies or jacket companies or clothes companies, I should say. They release some really incredible horror movie themed merchandise, and they have a big Godzilla line that is rapidly expanding. I only own stuff from their Godzilla vs. Kong line, but I love it. It's some of my favorite stuff. I wear it all the time, super high quality. I sound like I'm sponsored by them. I really wanted to be sponsored by them. I tried to talk them into it, and then they never responded to me. But genuinely, I do think they have some of the best Godzilla vs. Kong products on the market, and just Godzilla merchandise on the market in general, so go try and get some if you can. There were some Bandai plushies for Godzilla and Kong release. They're pretty cute. Prime One Studios is probably the most high-quality Godzilla makers in the world at the moment, at least as far as the Monsterverse is concerned, because of course there's some really high-quality products being put out by Toho. Prime One Studios did a collab with Godzilla vs. Kong. They've actually done a lot. I'm sure I'll talk about some of them later, but for now, let's talk about the ones they revealed in March or April, don't remember, of 2021. Starting out, they have a 30-inch Godzilla bust. It's a bust of Godzilla's head, and then on the back, it's got Godzilla's temple from Godzilla King of the Monsters with Godzilla standing in it. This is lit up with LEDs. It currently runs around $1,599, but you can pay it in a payment plan. Like I said, this thing is absolutely incredible. Looking at the pictures, I'm often confused if I'm looking at the CG model or not. That's how high quality it is. There's so many great details in the eyes and the face and the chest and all over. It's really insane. The LEDs look incredible. The back of it is really what sells me on it, because this Godzilla temple has so many good details. It's got the architecture from King of the Monsters with the Godzilla temple guards, the lava coming out of the big tunnel that Serizawa takes the ship down. So much good stuff. These wall murals and everything, and it's just some of the most high quality Godzilla stuff I've ever seen in my entire life. They also have some photos showing it mocked up in the Godzilla King of the Monsters lava lighting, and it just goes to show even more so how incredible it is. To go with that, I don't know why it's twice as expensive, but you can get yourself a $3,500 Kong bust. Again, this can be paid in a payment plan, but this thing is also similarly insanely incredible. I think this is the greatest piece of Kong merchandise to have ever been released. Is that what we're going to call it, merchandise? It feels like it should go in a museum. It's so high quality. They have actual fur on Kong. I don't know what type of fur it is, but it's actual fur on Kong, and it looks incredible. They also give stats on Kong. They list him as 337 feet. I don't think that's accurate to the movie, as we'll talk about in the next video. I think with the face and the chest and all of the little details, it's one of the best things I've ever seen. The back of it features Kong's temple from Godzilla vs. Kong. Again, just incredible. Now, they do take some liberties with it, like they do with the Godzilla one. They have the big Iwi arch doorways that you see inside of the Kong temple in the Hollow Earth. They also have this big Iwi bridge that's very Kong Skull Island-esque. This is Kong Skull Island inspired as well, so it's not just Godzilla vs. Kong. As you can see, they actually have that Kong mural, you know, the one that the Iwi made. It sits underneath Kong. So not only does it have the Iwi arch, the very iconic Iwi arch that you see a lot in Kong Skull Island, or at least it's similar to that. It doesn't quite look exactly like the Iwi arch from that movie, but it's very similar to it, and inside the Iwi arch is the Kong mural of Kong with his arms out that you saw from the film. On the back, like I said, you do have Kong's temple, so Kong's sitting in his throne. Amazing. I love it. He's holding the axe. He looks incredible. It's got the same expression that he has in the movie. The throne looks amazing. They did take some liberties with it, so it's not the same layout as it was in the movie, but that's all right. Additionally, like I said, there's some really incredible finer details, such as the chip in Kong's ear and the scars on his chest with the fur coming out of it. Just some really incredible stuff. The eyes look amazing. It looks very lifelike, and if I had the money, I would absolutely spring for this, because it just is so cool. Plus, it looks great in all sorts of different types of lighting. Finally, the one that I was actually very serious about buying, they released an $899 35-inch Kong axe. It scales in line with the actual Kong bust, so it goes with him very well, but just on its own, it's the highest quality Kong axe we have. Now, I know people could say, just make your own. I actually have one. It's a custom made that my little brother bought me for Christmas, but this is the highest quality Kong axe that's ever been released, and it looks incredible. You can see it here in a person's arms. Awesome. I think that they actually choose this model. It's this female model. I think they choose her because she's a little shorter, so the axe looks bigger in her hands. Like I said, it is 35 inches. They also give stats for it in the movie. In the film, it stands at 207.4 feet. So if you think about it, that is 2 times the size of Kong from Kong Skull Island. So the axe that Kong fights Godzilla with is 2 times the size of Kong from Kong Skull Island. Imagine Kong holding 2 Kongs attached to each other and beating up Godzilla with it. Just goes to show how much Kong grew. And for everybody who's like, it's so unrealistic, you don't grow that much. Just look at the difference between a baby gorilla and an adult gorilla, or like, I don't know, a baby human that stands at like 1 foot, and then an adult human who stands at like, I don't know, 6'2". Pretty big difference, guys. Once again, this is LED illuminated and it looks incredible. So many good details. I like that the lights can be on or off, so it shows it powering up. That's really neat. I love the chipped top. I didn't ever notice that the axe has this chipped top in the movie until I saw it in this model. You've also got really great detailing with the Godzilla hide on here as well. Oh man, I really love this thing. Like I said, I was genuinely very serious about wanting to buy it. It's cheaper than all the others, and so I really thought that maybe I would, but of course I went to college instead, so all my money went to college. That sucks. In a world where I don't know, dropped out, which I maybe should have done. Glad I didn't, but I could have had a Kong axe, and that would have been awesome. Alright, that'll do it for this one, guys. I want to give a quick thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for the support. It truly is what keeps this channel going, so thank you guys. Link to the Patreon in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.